Hi everyone. I have not done a video over here in a lot of years. A lot has happened. I've had two more children. I am Kate. I am Kate Svensson. I am the founder of Finding Cooper's Voice, and I want to start sharing over here again. Now I don't know what that looks like, so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what I've been doing, what we've been up to, my goals for this, and hopefully re-engage with some of you. So, like I said, my name is Kate. I am married to my husband Jamie, and we now have four kids. Our son Cooper, who is Finding Cooper's Voice, is 12. He is officially a tween. Teens next year. He has a diagnosis of, like it's in my drawer, severe non-speaking nonverbal autism, language impairment, apraxia, intellectual disability. Alphabet soup is what I call it. It's so many things: ADHD, anxiety. It's not him anymore. And what I mean by that is I believe that a diagnosis is a really important tool, and it helps us get the support and accommodations that we need as people, but I'm not going to let it define him. So he has all those things. They're put away. We take him out once a year, go through his evaluations, and he's Cooper. He's not measured by the things he can't do. He's measured by the things he can, and his limitless potential, and his joy, and his love. I started sharing about him, oh gosh, you guys, I started my blog when he was 2 on an old time WordPress site. Old time. And started sharing and didn't know it was autism, didn't know what was going on, but knew that my beautiful yellow-haired boy, this is him, this is exactly what he looked like. I knew that he wasn't talking and he wasn't sleeping, and the world was really confusing to him, and it was hard. So I started writing, and I remember thinking, I just picked the best name. And what's so funny is if I could do it over again, I wouldn't have put Cooper's name in my blog, but no one thinks they're going to go viral or that anyone cares what they have to say. And then boom, here we are, right? So I didn't start a Facebook page for a long time. And I actually, oddly, started doing videos on YouTube and stopped because it was just terrifying. And we'll see how this goes. But the comments were pretty rough. Things that I did not want to read about my son. I didn't want him to be exposed to, even through me. It scared me that people had so little understanding of children and teens and adults who walk a different path. I had no idea. Man, there's a lot I've learned. And then started making videos on Facebook. I think I've had my Facebook page for about 5 years, and I'm almost at 1 million followers, which is super fun. I never thought, oops, ding, ding, ding. I never thought I'd be there. I never cared about the numbers. That was never a priority to me. But just to think that my son has impacted and touched and helped almost 1 million people. Because I remember when our world was isolated and small and lonely and a little scary, that I thought, what if no one ever knows who he is? What if he can't go to school? What if he can't leave our house? What if he can't talk and no one ever knows who he is? And well, parenting has a way of making you eat your nevers and your worries, right? And here we are. I have 3 other kids. My son Sawyer is 9. He'll be 10 on Friday. A lot of my book, which I'm going to talk about, a lot of this is about Sawyer. And when Cooper was diagnosed, I didn't know any children with autism, let alone siblings, let alone parents and families, right? And that was one of the harder parts for me to navigate, was how do I have a foot in both worlds, right? How do I have this arm over here holding Cooper, keeping him safe, advocating, spreading awareness, figuring out this confusing thing, and then go to hockey and t-ball and play Nerf guns and go to play dates and birthday parties. A lot of this book is about navigating that path and being pulled in two separate directions, and then eventually feeling really comfortable in the special needs world, because it's my hat that I put on. I felt really comfortable over there. I love the rawness and the realness of parents like me. We're no baloney. We're cut the crap. This is what we need. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're struggling. All these things, right? And sometimes when I was in the neurotypical world, I felt like a lot of things were fake, and I couldn't relate to the things that people were saying, and it was hard for me to figure out where I belonged. That's the honest truth. My husband and I divorced. Were any of you here for that? If you were, say something, say hello. My husband and I were married, had 2 kids, moved a bunch of times, got an autism diagnosis, and got divorced. Life was not working. We were not working. He was a little bit behind me in the acceptance. And the way I describe it in my book was he did everything. He went through the motions, and he was at every appointment, and he was there. But I felt like there was always this resistance and to autism, to the diagnosis, to the treatments, to whatever, the therapies, whatever it was, the chaos of life. So again, go back to that image, right? I was being pulled over here, and I felt, right or wrong, like he was being pulled over with Sawyer, and that there was this divide. And I just decided one day, I'm doing this by myself. I'm done. Doing it by myself. And we got divorced, and I bought a house, and I live with my 2 kids. And we joke, spent a lot of time in a boat and fished, and we grieved, and we learned, and we hit bottom, and the story of how we came back together is my favorite part. So this is my book. I'm not there in my spiel yet, but we came back together, and we had 2 more kids. So our son Harbor is 4, and he is wild and precocious and just every day is so joyful for him. Everything, no matter what we're doing, is so joyful, and it's just fun. Sawyer, my 9-year-old, is a little bit more emotional. Granted, he's older and life is more challenging, so it's probably typical, but Harbor's still at that, like, let's bake cookies, let's color, let's say Play-Doh, it's very fun. And our baby Winnie is a complete surprise, and a girl after 3 boys, and is just has dad wrapped around her finger. I mean, she is just a doll. We live in Minnesota. My husband and I both work full-time from home. I'm a writer, and I do some influencing. I have a community called Coops Troops. I do all that stuff that you never would think was a job, but I took a leap of faith right after I had Harbor and started working with Facebook, and it was wonderful. And my husband's an insurance agent. So we've moved a bunch of times. We are in our forever home. Where we are now is so perfect for Cooper. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest parts of where I am now is building community. And if you follow me on Facebook, I talk relentlessly about finding people who walk the same path as you, and how there's no medal given out at the end for the person who did it alone. And I was a martyr. I was going to do it alone. I was okay. I could do everything. I was superwoman. Well, I'll tell you, 4 kids had a way of humbling that right out of me, but also so did my son's diagnosis. I couldn't do everything. I couldn't be in 2 places. I couldn't, as Cooper's challenges increased, he couldn't really leave our house. He couldn't safely ride in the car. So how did I, be Sawyer's mom too? And I needed help. And it took me a long time to ask for it, because I was really proud. I hit my bottom. I was a caregiver in crisis. And that's another big part of what I do, is talking about these feelings, right? No one ever wanted me to say, this was hard, or I'm struggling, or I'm scared, or I'm sad. I didn't know that those were even controversial things. But I was no saint. And I was given this amazing child to walk alongside and I had no idea what I was doing because no one else I knew had a child who didn't talk or who hit or who hurt. And, we fail, we do better, we get up, we try, we keep going. One of my sayings in this book is always try one more thing. You can give up. I give up all the time. My baby's not sleeping. I give up. Try one more thing. And I think that is one of the best pieces of advice I can give any parent of a child with a diagnosis. You're going to hit so many dead ends. No one will fight for your child like you will. You are their best advocate. Fight for them. Pave the way. And eventually, they'll take it. And you can walk beside them or behind them. But in the beginning, you got to pave. I talk a lot about feelings now. I was rushed through everything. I was told things like, at least it's not cancer, get over it, it could be worse. My child does that too. He's going to be fine. And I lived for like 5 years because of all of that in this space where I was like, well, obviously this is going to go away. He'll always be autistic, but he won't be severe, and he will eventually talk and eventually do all these things. And it didn't get better for a long time for him. He was struggling. He couldn't communicate. He didn't feel good. He self-injured. He was aggressive. And I needed someone to sit with me in the dark. That's all I needed. When I look back at the simple things that I needed someone to sit with me. Let me cry. And let me say, this is so hard. And I'm sad. I love my child more than life. And I'm sad that he is going to struggle and have a harder life. And I think no one wanted me to do that. And I think because they didn't want to be sad too, or they didn't want to acknowledge that it was real. For me, when I hit my bottom, because remember, you can't heal from what you refuse to acknowledge. Remember that. This was forever. And once I stepped into it, right? Once I really stepped into it, and I had this moment where I was, after a hard day, I was giving my beautiful son a bath and I was washing his feet, and they weren't little feet anymore. They were big feet. And he had no words. And I didn't know if he even knew he had a brother. And we couldn't ride in the car, and we couldn't go to parks, and we had to stay home from Christmas, and all these things were happening. And I was told some pretty awful predictions, and it all compounded on me. And I gave up. And I thought, I'm going to just step into every one of these emotions. Anger, sadness, worry, grief, fear, jealousy. Is that one? All of them, right? I've been carrying this around on my back, this weight, this invisible weight. Because if I acknowledged it, if I stopped and I felt it, and if people let me feel it, then it was real. And I didn't have the support, and I wasn't strong enough, I don't think. And in that moment, washing those big feet, I did. And I thought about autism, severe autism, forever, and what that looked like, and never hearing I love you, and these things, right? And I felt this peace wash over me. Honestly, I did. Because I set my weight down, and I stepped into each emotion, and I unpacked it, and I felt it. And I moved into the land of acceptance so fast. I transformed. I became the mom that my son needed me to be. I met him where he was at. And he's absolutely amazing. So really quickly, Cooper is 12. He rides horses. He goes to music class. He's a 6th grader. He swims at school. He went snow tubing last weekend. He can make toast. He can buckle his seatbelt. He can get dressed. He can put his shoes on. He has like 20 words. He uses a speech device. You guys, he's doing so good. He can walk in parking lots. He can go to the grocery store now. Slowly. He's trying new foods. I could go on and on and on, you guys. Yes, he still has challenges, but he is just thriving in his own way. We threw away those timelines, those milestone sheets, those predictors. forgot about the age, the grade, and we just met him as who he is. And we stopped measuring him by his nevers and his can'ts and his won'ts. And that's what happens, and I will say this from my soapbox in the world of special needs. When you have a child with a diagnosis, they become data and numbers and charts and lists. And suddenly you're talking about all the things they'll never do and can't do and all their bad behaviors and their struggles. And think that weight, right? Who out there has left an evaluation or a questionnaire or an IEP meeting and you just feel hunched, right? You're hunched. It hurts. No more. He is Cooper. So before I go, I want to just kind of tell you how to follow me because I've been out of touch for so long. So Facebook is where I'm the most active. It's Finding Cooper's Voice. Come follow me if you don't. I'm almost at 1 million followers. I'm pretty active over there. I do a lot of short video and reels and that sort of thing. Share stories, other blog posts. My website, and I'll put all this below, is findingcoopersvoice.com. You can find out how to have me as a speaker. You can find out about my events. I have a dental event coming up in Minnesota. We're renting out a movie theater. We're doing an event with Sun Country. Monthly events with moms. So I have a group. It's a paid supporter group. I'm honest and transparent. I launched it 3 years ago on Facebook. It's called Coops Troops. It's $4.99 a month. And I did that because I couldn't handle the shaming and bullying in the world of special needs. I couldn't take it. The things that I saw and heard and witnessed, I couldn't do it anymore. So I created this little tiny niche small group, and it's moms and dads and grandparents. It's all online, but we do in-person things. So like when I go to Pittsburgh, I'm going to have an event. I'm going there in April. I'm going to North Carolina in March. We're going to have an event. And then I have a Minnesota event every month. I'm also going to New York and Florida this year. So I'll link my events page. You can ask any question you want in that group. You can ask about aggression. You can ask about self-injuring and all these different things, right? And no one's going to judge you or shame you or make you feel like garbage. Don't do this alone. If you don't join my group, that's fine. But find a group. Find a group. Find a mom. Find a dad. Find someone you can text. Connect your kids. This needs to be your top priority. And I wrote a book. It is called Forever Boy. It was an Amazon best pick for one of the months for nonfiction. It is a memoir. It is our family's journey with autism. So it starts out when I was a little girl, goes through my marriage, my miscarriage, having Cooper, divorce, moving, navigating the school district. We had some bad experiences, aggression, some bad experiences, medications, really great positive things. And then the climax is we were told our son had the most severe case of autism a social worker had ever seen. Hit that bottom I just talked about, and then my transformation, becoming the person I was meant to be. And the last chapter is like everyone's favorite because it's all the advice I wish I would have had when I was a new mom. Try one more thing. Find something that works for your family. Find joy. Keep trying. I mean, all these things, right? It's on Amazon. I'll put a link below. It's $13.99. It's not expensive. Grab a copy, please. Gift it. Share it. If you're not able to get it, which I totally understand, ask your library. Libraries are fantastic. Ask them. If you're not an Amazon person, you can also get it at local bookstores or Target online or Barnes & Noble online. What else did I want to say? If you want more, join my supporter group. Okay, I plan on doing one video here a week, more maybe, and I'm just going to hit on some of the big topics. Aggression, self-injuring, that sort of thing, and just have a discussion. I'm not always right. My ideas aren't always right. I just ask for kindness if you've watched this far. I don't like icky, scary people. But I really believe that I was called to help. No one should ever have to feel alone on this journey. We're out here. Find us. We're here. Happy to be back. Bye, everyone.